Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin. Priscilla here with a little book review. And I am reviewing today the Happy Witch book, Activities, Spells, and Rituals to Calm the Chaos and Find Your Joy by Mandy Em. And if you guys are not familiar with Mandy Em, she is currently, or quickly, becoming my new favorite, like, witchy author. I have not been kind to this book at all. Now that I am talking to you guys. She's the author of Witchcraft Therapy, also Feral Self-Care, and then I already have her Shadow Work book on pre-order because I absolutely love her work and I really enjoy her books. And I also have her on, like, the Instagram and her newsletter and all the things because I really enjoy her content. So I'm really excited to share this book with you guys today. This is a book that I read with a friend last year. And then I've just been passing it on to people that I meet because I just find so much value inherent in this book. And then continuing the trend of how I ruin this book, I leave a pen in it so the spine gets all distorted and the pages get all distorted. Because this is the special pen that I use to write in the little journal that I had to go with this. Because originally I was going to write in the book because I am irreverent when it comes to my witchy books. I write all inside the pages and stuff, usually in the margins. But you'll see here, the margins were not very large. So it was only left with spaces like this to write in. So I ended up just getting a little journal to go with it. And that I didn't bring for the show and tell portion of this program. But I left the pen in here. So let's get that out so it's not in the way. It's a cool Sailor Moon pen. It's definitely appropriate because Sailor Moon makes me happy. So why wouldn't I use it in my Happy Witch book? But all this to say, I would give this like, let's say 8 pumpkins. I think it's 8 pumpkins. The scale is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It gets 8 pumpkins. I really like this book. It's actually become so, like, intrinsic to my witchy thought process and, like, mindset that it is now, like, in my set of essential books for every witchy spellcaster. And maybe I'll do that video. I'll drag out my books and show you the books that I think you need as a witch or that I really enjoy and think are, like, the foundations of my personal practice. Those things together. I love this book, and let me tell you why I love this book. One, because I got this book after a rough year of shadow work that left me, like, emotionally wrecked, and that was 2022. I think we were all going through it in 2022. So finding this book was like a breath of fresh air, not because I felt like anything in this book was particularly new to me, but more like it was a refresher on things I already know and just sort of, like, don't do or process or consider because I already know. Like, why would I look at it again, right? Like, I'm so knowledgeable. But that's like a fallacy that I feel like more experienced witches fall into, where we start to skip doing like the basic work or the groundwork because we're like, I'm the all-powerful witch, I already know things. And getting this book and reading through it, I was like, well, I already know this, but then I was like, wait a minute, but I don't actually do this, and if I did this, I probably would feel better and more prepared for things. So as I started working through this book, I still have like more stuff I want to do. I have not done everything in this book. It is a meaty book. But as I started working through this book, I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I should actually really, really focus on this because this is stuff I should be doing. It's really, like, basic stuff. I felt like everything in this book was really accessible, and for me, like, in a witchy book, that's really important. I feel like things should be easy. They should be straightforward. They shouldn't be like you have to have 1,200 ingredients in order to make this one special thing happen. It should be mostly self-reliant, and my biggest takeaway on this book is that it continues to follow a principle magically and witchcraftly that I like personally believe in, which is that witchcraft is not like a problem solver. It is a tool that you use for self-healing. And having gone through like the life experiences that I have gone through, I can't say anything that like resonates more in the sense of my personal practice than that. So having a book that not only encourages magical self-healing, but tells me like, hey, it's possible to like come back from those dark places that you have been to. It's possible to sort of unfuck your life and unfuck your thought processes through simple, easy work. And by just taking the time to sort of focus on yourself was like fireworks everywhere. It was amazing. And I I really enjoy this book because of that. And as I was reading through, I went from being like, I know everything, to like, oh, this is really solid information and something I can come back to and refer to over and over again. So I love it. I also just really like that the type is in purple, not because I particularly enjoy the color purple. It is not even close to one of my favorite colors. It's probably one of my least favorite colors, but just that it like jumps off the page in a way that like black text I think would not have. I think it keeps the mood in the journal, like in the book, not the journal, in the book, like bright without being like overwhelmingly cheerful and chipper, you know? And I'll say that the way that Mandy Em writes is really enjoyable to me because it feels very conversational. It feels very straightforward. There's not a lot of like flowery language. She cuts out a lot of the like, the chaff, a lot of the extra that a lot of writers tend to fall into the habit of adding into their witchy books in particular. So it's right into it. Like, I will show you, for example, there is a clean up your trash talk, and this is basically like stop talking shit so that, you know, you aren't speaking negativity into an existence. And that's this little section where she's just sort of explaining it in a very straightforward conversational way. And then there is a spell, and it takes an apple and a honey, and that's, and a honey, and that's all that's it. And then a couple of steps and boom, you're done. And it's not overwhelming in the slightest. So it's really approachable, and it's really like easy bite-sized magic that you can sort of put into play. And then in the like the sections where, you know, maybe you need to do a little bit of heavier work, the explanations are a little bit longer, but they're never like pages and pages long. 2 pages is very manageable reading. There's a whole thing about boundaries warding. There is spell jars. There are like baths and sachets and potions and little witchy things to make you continue to feel witchy, which is great because, you know, you don't want to like feel like you're doing therapy all the time. But it is a little bit therapeutic, and as the author of Witchcraft Therapy, it's clearly going to be that way. And I just love the way that she writes. I love the way she speaks about it. And I think this is like an essential bit that should be like in everybody's witchy toolkit, because sometimes I think we forget that like we're supposed to be happy at the end of the day, and if you're like going through it and you're trying to do spells to solve every individual problem in your life without solving the you problem, which is, you know, your current state of being, your mental state, your restful state, like if you aren't resting, your burnout, like if you're not solving those issues or confronting them and trying to like deal with them, it doesn't really matter how much like spell work you do because you're still at the center of that problem, not being the victim or like the person that I'm blaming in that problem, but in the like sense that, you know, you can't change your perspective on things without doing a little bit of work on yourself. You can't come out of that space without doing a little bit of work on yourself, and this book makes that really approachable. It makes it really easy, and I would definitely recommend it to everyone. I would also say, because people ask me about shadow work, and if I'm going to do like a course on shadow work, which I can, but here's what I want to preface it by. I wish I had this book before I did my shadow working journey, because at the end of the work in this book, I felt so much better that like I knew immediately that if I had this book before then, I would have been in the right mental state to approach shadow work without having to do like the deep trauma that I caused myself. I had to go through a lot of yucky emotions during my own personal shadow working journey, and I didn't really have the best mental state to handle it. So there were times where like it got super depressive, or like I just got like super disconnected because I was just really going through it. And had I had this in my toolkit before then, I think I would have been able to face that with a much better like frame of mind, in a much better state and place, and I probably wouldn't have struggled so much. It wouldn't have been a year of like shenanigans had I had this in my toolkit. So if you are interested in like getting into shadow work, I would definitely say pick this up first, do the work, and then go into shadow work, and know that by the end of this book you're going to have a really good foundation to handle the shadow working you're going to do. And then I don't know if there's enough interest to do a shadow work course, like maybe via Patreon or something. on this channel. So like if you're interested, let me know, and that's something I'll start to put together if that's something everybody is interested in. But if it's not, then I'm not going to really worry on that. It's just something that people ask me about. So I wanted to throw this out there that if you're interested in doing that, I would definitely recommend that you start here and then get into shadow work. And when her shadow work book comes out, I will definitely read it and then review it as quickly as I possibly can. Because if that's a good resource, then I will definitely want to recommend that to the people who are interested and who are asking me about it. But right now, Happy Witch, it's what did I say? It's 8 pumpkins. It's amazing. I love it. I definitely recommend it. I think you guys would really enjoy it. It's a meaty book, so there's a lot to go over, but it's not hard to read through. And like I said, the languaging in here is really delightful. It makes it a personal experience as opposed to like a tome or a textbook sort of experience that some other witchy books might leave you with. It doesn't feel like that at all. So if you were interested, check it out. If you've read this, let me know in the comments below. I would like to know your thoughts on it. If you had the same experiences as I did, I am definitely interested in that. And that's going to be it for me, guys. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate your faces, and I will catch you guys all in the next one. Until then, happy crafting. Bye!